Hi guys, it's the Origami Mommy, and I am here to show you guys how to make these cute origami rabbit faces. And then these guys are sort of like little abstract flowers. And I'm going to make blue rabbits. So what we're going to do actually with your paper, so grab a piece of square paper, and it doesn't have to be origami paper, it can be any paper from your recycling bin. It just needs to be in a perfect square shape. So what I'm going to do is turn this paper over, start with the white side up, and I'm going to rotate it around so it's sort of more diamond-y shaped, and then I'm going to fold this piece of paper in half diagonally. So now it looks like a triangle. And then what I'm going to do is unfold it, and I'm going to rotate it around so that that crease is now going up and down, which is vertically. And I'm going to do what's called a modified kite base. So I'm going to choose two adjacent raw edges, which are just edges that are sitting right next to each other. And you're going to start to fold them into the middle, but you're going to leave a little bit of space at the top. So normally a full kite base would be bringing your edges all the way into the middle. But I'm gonna actually do it this way, sorry. Bring that corner, this outer corner is gonna touch the crease at the bottom, but just give yourself a little space up here because these are gonna become the ears. So if I were to turn this rabbit around and put it next to it, this is the space that I started off with right there. Hopefully that makes sense. So try to match these guys up as close as possible. Just like that. So that is the shape that you should have. Yours can be a little bit wider here. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to rotate this around so that this is going to be the ear part, and this is going to be the face part down here. So I'm going to take these inside flaps one at a time, and I'm just going to lift it back at an angle just about that far. This is called a rat fold because it stands for right about there. So I'll bring this up a little bit closer. You can try to see. Yeah, it's not an exact measurement, and I apologize for not having an exact measurement there. But sometimes it's just sort of, you're just guessing at how far away to fold things, and that's what we're doing this time. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, you see where the tops of these flaps are? This is where you're going to turn your paper over on the smooth side, and you're going to start to fold the narrow part of your paper back. And you're going to do it as far as, until you can kind of start to see those little edges of those underneath flaps. So when you start to see those, press your paper down. So then when you turn your paper over, it's going to look like this. Okay, and then what you're going to do, this is called a pleat fold. I know if you guys have taken my course before, you know, hopefully you know what that is by now. It's just you're putting a little wrinkle in your paper. So if I put this back down on the paper flat, I'm going to leave some of the paper pointing away from me, but I'm going to start to bring that top flap towards me. You're going to try to do that as straight as possible, but you're leaving a little bit of a wrinkle in there, if you can see what I mean. That's a pleat fold. So when you turn it over, you've kind of put like a little wrinkle in your model. Okay? Nice. We're getting there. This guy is not hard. Most of the time spent is actually decorating them. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, this is sort of part swash fold. But you know what? Before I do that, I actually think I'm going to give him his nose paper first, so then I know kind of how far I'm going to do that. So again, this is not a real exact measurement. It's just right about there. You just imagine how far up you think a rabbit's nose is compared to the eyes. So the eyes on this rabbit are going to end up here. His nose is down a little bit farther here. So it's kind of like, you know, when I open up this flap of this corner, it's almost to the same level as where these corners are. So maybe that helps. Almost. It's just a little bit down from that. And then give him a cute little nose. Okay. So now we are going to do what's called a squash fold from the side. So I'm going to push on the side. Actually, I want to do it a little bit more at an angle. So I want you to notice this side here is a little bit angled. It's not straight. Okay, so when you push, squash fold that guy over to the side, it's at an angle. But again, it doesn't really matter. So if I push this back down, it was like this. So I just basically pushed on the side of my paper, and that kind of pushed his little eyebrows, eyeball section up. Do you see what I mean? And if that is too tricky for you, now that I'm looking at this, what you could probably do is just fold this guy over to the side. You could probably just do that on both sides. If you wanted to not do this, pushing the paper over to the side, you could probably just do the same, get the same kind of feel, but do it like this instead. And then that maybe wouldn't be as tricky. And then what you could do from here is start to draw the eyeballs on this section right here. But for those of you that want to do something a little bit more tricky, I'm going to show you how to finish up that squash fold. Okay, so I'm gonna squash fold that piece of paper down like that. And then I'm actually just gonna bring this paper down on top of itself. Just like that. Okay. Now this little piece here is kind of sticking out. So what I'm going to actually do from here is just to the back side. I'm just going to hide it behind and just tuck it under there and then refold it. Okay, so then we're going to do the same thing over here. Push that over to the side. At the same time, this piece of paper is coming up, right? And then I'm going to just fold it back down. Now, every time I do this, it's a little bit different because my pleat from back here is not done the same width every time, which is kind of cool. That means I just get different looking faces every time. Okay, so again, on this corner here, I'm going to push this behind, like in front of this ear piece. I'm just going to tuck that behind. And then if some papers are sticking up and they're bothering you, you can push them to the back as well. Okay, so now this rabbit, you can see how his face looks a little bit different from this one, right? This guy has more wide open face, and this guy has a little bit more narrow. And that's just because, like I was talking about, how I did the pleat was done a little differently. So the pleat on this guy is much wider than this guy. So that's why it looks a little bit different, and it's not wrong, it's just different. So I just want you to know that that is why that looks different. Okay, so now what we could do is, if you have some scissors, right down the middle here is where we're going to make a slit to make his ears. Just like that. So you can do some different folds with his ears. Either you can leave them both standing up, or you can flop one really far down this way, right? And that could be super cute. Now, if this right here for you guys, if that happens to you and that's bothering you, what I would suggest is just pushing it up, folding it under. You know what I mean? Because that kind of is bothering me. So I am just gonna fold it under just a little bit. And there we go. Now, actually, what I like about this guy is that these kind of look like little eyebrows. So I think what I'm going to do is draw his eyes underneath it and not up top right here, because actually rabbit's eyes are more down here. But this reminds me a lot like eyebrows, don't you think? So I think that's what I'm going to do. And you might make some adjustments yourself after seeing some stuff. So I think I'm actually going to give him some brown eyes, and I'm just gonna draw. These are paint markers, so these might look different from your markers that you use, but if you have some paint markers, by all means, break them out. Okay. Now, the thing is with these paint markers, I do have to let them dry a little bit, so we'll try to work on some other sections. Okay. Pretty cute. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, with his nose, I'm going to just give him a little pink nose. Yep, there we go. All right, you guys, I'm loving these cute little eyebrows. Yes, indeed, I am. Now I'm going to, let's see, actually, before I add his pupil and stuff like that, I'm going to give him his little insertion points for his whiskers. Now the white is not going to show up that well down here because of the white here, so I'm going to choose a black. All right. The whiskers get smaller. As they, what I was going to say is the whiskers are smaller towards the lower part of his chin. Okay, let's see. I'm going to give him some little fur marks here to sort of just suggest the direction of his fur. All right, so now what I think I can do, this might still be a little wet, but I'm going to attempt to give him a little like black pupil here. So cute, you guys. Oh my gosh. You can deepen his lower part here too if you want. Pretty cute. Yeah, you guys can just use your artistic talents here and do whatever you want. I love drawing and stuff, so I could probably work on this for hours, but for you guys, we're gonna make it a little bit less time. Okay, and then there's, you know, because Rabbit's eyes are big and shiny, well, that was supposed to be a nice white. It's because it's still wet. So I think what I'm gonna do is go back in later. I'm just gonna mark out where I wanna put those highlights. I'm gonna come back in later, so hopefully I do not forget. And then if your marker gets messy, I'm just wiping it off on a scratch paper. Okay, so now these flowers I was showing you before, or maybe I didn't show you before, I can't remember. These are these little flowers that I had put on this other card, and they are so easy. They are just circle shapes. So basically you're gonna grab like a cup or a bowl. I have these fun stencils, which have all these fun circle shapes, so I can just choose the one that I want and draw, use a pencil and trace. And then you just take some scissors and you cut out your shape, right? And then you're gonna put it back down on the table and you're gonna fold it in half. So now it looks like a taco. And then you're gonna fold it in half again. Now it looks like a little mouse taco. Now we're gonna open that back up. Right where that middle crease is, you're just gonna take, this is the right side, I'm gonna start my fold at the bottom of that crease, and I'm just gonna fold it up about this far. It's about halfway between the end and the top. And I'm gonna do the same on this left side. That is the flower. And then I took a darker color, so I took red and just made some fun marks to sort of indicate, you know, like veins, or just to give it a different texture. Right? Now, do you think that those eyes are dry yet? I might have to just, I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually get any white in there. So you can see, sometimes it's important to let stuff dry. I'm very impatient, and you can see what happens when you do not wait. So I'm going to give him another little highlight. That showed up much better because I let that dry, didn't I? Okay, so now I'm gonna take my orange paper and my blue bunny face. You can figure out where you want to glue him down. And then I'm just gonna turn him over and put some glue around where the paper's gonna stick down. And I'm gonna put him down just like that. Right? Look, I'm making a big mess. My fingers got all over the marker. All right, so now you can decide where you're gonna put your little flowers, and I like to kind of, you know, put them around. You know what, you could even give this guy like a little flower crown with different, you know, shapes of this and different colors. That would be like incredibly adorable, if you ask me. So I might just put this guy there. You want to sort of take a look, mix your mix your shapes up a little bit. I like this little baby one here. So I'm going to put some glue on that. Let's see. Maybe we'll do it like this, but I want to do it in a different position, like the one up there. So I'm going to do that. And then maybe, I don't know, what do you think, you guys? Maybe that one will be up there in that space. Kind of want to move your little flowers around so they're not all in the same position and they're not all in the same place. Right? Look at that. Okay, sorry, I was trying to find the lid for your glue. Always cover up your glues. And then I'm going to finish putting in some of these marks like I did before. These are just lines. You could put little dots on them. All right, just like that. If you wanted to add little green stems all around, you could do that. And then you could, I have these things are oil pastels. They're called, or wax pastels. They're called gelatos, I think. And this is like a green color. It's a Faber-Castell brand. I'm just gonna put little, like, abstract green spots. Just to give it a little fun, different look. Okay. And let's see. Maybe I'll add a yellow. This kind of reminds me of we sort of have a carrot theme going, don't we? I don't know if this yellow's gonna, oh yes it is. It's gonna show up. So now I might just, I'm obsessed with circles, guys, so be patient with me. I'm just gonna throw in some circle shapes. Just for fun, just to kind of break up some of the solid colors. It's kind of fun to mix up solid and sort of like open, you know, open shapes, right? I'm just going to go all the way around everywhere. And there is our rabbit. And since I like to make funny little puns, I might add something here to the point of where it would say Happy Easter.